What's up, everybody? Welcome to another, hopefully, amazing episode of the Surf and Sales podcast. I am Scott Leese, one half of the team that brings you the Surf and Sales Summit, along with the Surf and Sales podcast. Check us out at surfandsales.com. We've got 6 seats left. That's it, Richard. We're down to 6 seats available for Surf and Sales. How are you doing, Richard?
I'm good. I'm really, really good. I'm just trying to see. Oh, it's my note taker that's trying to join this meeting, which I don't need. So I'll kick it out.
We don't need any notes. We have a steel trap of memory.
Yes, this is
notes. Richard Harris, everybody, the other half of the Surf and Sales team. We're going to spend some time today with what I believe is our first ever guest from Serbia. If you are from Serbia and you have appeared on this show, we apologize, but we have forgotten. His name is Milo Milosevic. He's from Belgrade, Serbia. He's the CEO and founder of Drive Sales, and we're going to welcome him in just a moment. But first, Richard's going to share a little bit about our good friends and partners over at HubSpot.
All right. So thank you to HubSpot for prompting me like AI. So I'm going to prompt Scott to see which new hobby he'd like. Pottery, paddleboarding, or bread baking.
Paddleboarding, obviously paddleboarding.
But you already know how to do that, right?
So?
A new hobby. So are you going to be a bread?
Kite surfing.
Okay. All right. Kite surfing. There it is. All right. The reason I'm asking is because HubSpot, who's our sponsor, has built in their AI tool into their system, right? So they've got ChatSpot and things like that, and they can now actually do everything from helping you create new content to understanding your data and reports and dashboards, save you some time, with your sales team. And it's that extra saved time that you get back based on the data when you use something like a good AI tool like AI with HubSpot that gives Scott the ability to become a brand new bread maker. So I'm really excited to taste this bread that Scott makes, even though he says he wants to be a kite surfer, which I know he won't actually do. He's too afraid.
Oh, okay. Anybody listening who will take me kite surfing, this is something that I want to try. It's windy as hell in places like Central Texas where I can't do regular surfing all the time. And I don't know if they're surfing in Belgrade or not, but maybe there's a lake and maybe Milo can take me kite surfing. And if I'm making bread, it has to be like grain-free, gluten-free bread because I can't eat normal bread. So I'm not really into the whole bread maker part. You know what I mean, Richard?
Yeah, you'll put some other creative herbs and spices in there, I know.
Yeah, I might be able to do that. Milo Milosevic, everybody, CEO of Drive Sales. How's it going, man?
Honestly, it's going rather decent, but as of yesterday, I decided to mess my back up in the gym because I'm trying to recover from a knee. Now, surgery was a bit ago, but I was trying to recover from to play soccer or football with the kid. That's literally the only thing. Now I'm like going to therapy and all that stuff. Other than that, we'll be going okay. So this will be my rant intro. Probably not the best way to introduce myself.
You sound like Scott.
Yeah.
So I'm always heard to a Scott.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is like super relatable content to old dad. Like yeah. Well, tell everybody a little bit about Drive Sales and what you're working on, man.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, we are building a software for moving companies globally that can operate their own, own business from A to B. Let's say like a HubSpot, but specifically for moving companies that you can do lead intake, following your workflow from a sales perspective, organize like dispatching process for the truck start in real time, how efficient the storage is when you input stuff in storage, you can find it, barcodes and all that good stuff. We're also pushing a couple of other things in, but basically trying to help moving companies globally streamline their business. There's also a couple of other things to make into it, but that's like a nutshell what we're looking to build.
I love
building right now.
As you know, Richard, I love these like platform plays in these quote unquote unsexy industries.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I love it so much. Talk to me about the challenge of having a product that can be sold globally. How did you first attack this? Did you sell in Serbia first and then expand out? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So I've been in the company previously for six odd years, building from ground up, right? Within the industry, moving space, right? So I've been a telemarketer. I've been literally whatever you name it, from calling people out of the blue and annoying the living crap out of them, and to managing a 90-person team, which I basically built and developed over the years, right? And I saw a big gap in the industry of what we needed. So I decided that I wanted to make a play to actually address the issue that I've seen firsthand. And the reason how I've done it is I've actually, as I mentioned, managed a 80 whatever person operations facility, and majority of the stuff that we've been doing was manual, which is crazy. And then I thought, look, there has to be a better way to do this. And I just started building things that I wanted to have that will allow me to book more business. So that's how it started. And everything was done. Everything I've done was remotely doing it from Belgrade, Serbia. So I thought, why not start it here? And to just address one point of the question is, I'm not selling anywhere in Serbia right now. So my software is literally, I would say, virtually useless in Serbia. My main markets are US, Canada, UK, and then I'm going to expand elsewhere. But I've been selling into the US and Canada for quite a bit.
This is like fascinating to me. Why is your software useless in Serbia?
Because the market is so small, the pricing wouldn't necessarily be the fit for this market. The moving and storage industry in Belgrade or in Serbia isn't fully developed like it is in the country that I just mentioned. So there isn't a significant need for the tools that we kind of offer. So if you're in the industry, you still have someone maybe rent a truck, which is like $50 maybe for the day, and you have a couple of friends over, and that's it. You can still do obviously in the States, but you wouldn't be driving cross country from Chicago to New York or LA to Boston. Doesn't really matter, right? So the market is not so big for this software, but there are huge players within the moving space in Belgrade that can actually help that deal with embassies, that deal with high net worth individuals, but they already have their own operating system, and they're just like a cog in a wheel that was already built from like a bigger perspective from like an organization standpoint.
Wait, hold on, one more thing, Richard. And I'm going to actually ask Richard this question. Richard, can you think of another company that is based in one country and does not sell inside of that country? I can't think of one at the moment.
Well, interestingly enough, like my client Telesign, they have LA offices, but they have a big Serbian office. And I think there's a decent amount of that happening out of Serbia because of the education of the people living there. Like I do know that about the market, having been there. It seems like the average person in Serbia speaks 3 languages, right? They speak the regular language, they speak English, and then they speak one other one. So that's a wealth of highly talented people you can do global. So it doesn't surprise me. But no, I do not know any, to answer your question. I don't.
Yeah, I find that fascinating. Go ahead.
So my question is, when you're building this, and maybe it's because of, sort of how you just sort of grew up in your career, how did you get product market fit in a country you're not really even in yet? Right? Like I think I'm even asking culturally, like, because it's very different to go from one place. It's one thing when you've got a company and you're successful and you want to come into the US, you have some customer stories, right? When you're not based in the US, or maybe you have offices now, is the US market, or are we too skeptical of someone? Or is it, no, we start in the EU first and then we go to the US? Like, how do you figure out the product market fit?
So this might be like a special scenario with me, how I kind of ended up doing this, because I already know that there's a big gap in this space. There are some players in it. There were some investments or whatever, but no one has solved the issue that I personally have experienced while running that previous team before I started my own company. So I saw that irrespective of like building an MVP that is instantly, taken by 50 clients, I just saw that if we build something that's worthwhile, and I have contacts within the industry that grew across a couple of years, And before I even decided to push this forward, I actually talked to all of the people and say, look, would this sound like an interesting idea? Would you be interested in, potentially being a client if something like this comes up? So I kind of talked to my potential future customers to even see if there's any remote interest in what I'm looking to build without being paid.
So it's the same thing. It's the same. You've done the same thing everybody does, which is you identify a gap in the marketplace and then you start talking. To me, it's fascinating that you're like, well, I'm not going to build it here. So I'll build it, to sell into the US. Like that's great. I'm not that creative. I'm too old.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I also think I'm too old when I go to the gym and all that stuff. I just see everybody else be a lot better looking than I am. I mean, better looking is not a hard thing when you look at me, but generally, Well,
this is why we're all in inside sales, right? So, how important do you think it is for the founder to be sort of the initial salesperson? Now, you get a little bit of a cheat code because you have a sales background and an operations background and whatnot. But, there's some people who are they have strong opinions like the first seller has to be the founder, even if the founder is like a total IT introvert who has no salesmanship or charisma whatsoever. And I'm like, I don't think I agree with that. So I'm curious, like, what your stance is on the founder being the first seller and how important that is.
Well, if, for example, I'm a sole founder type of thing. I have partners, right? And they're great partners too. But I'm the face pushing this forward. So if I was a complete IT like tech person building this, and I had a partner that is sales oriented and can sell, I wouldn't necessarily mind. But even though that I believe if you're a founder, you have to be able to talk about your product and to be able to kind of sell, or at least get it to someone else to spark interest to someone else to take over that has more, let's say, skill or is more versed in selling. So my opinion is that I do kind of think that you have to have the ability to at least interest someone in what you're doing. Not necessarily get a customer in, but maybe like pass it on. For example, if I don't know anything, I can pass it on to you back. If you're a friend or a partner that can handle, I can build stuff out.
All right, I got it. So, Scott, am I hearing you correct that you don't think the founder should be doing sales, or are you saying that there needs to be a co-founder who handles the business side while the other founder is the tech side?
I'm suggesting that whether it's a single founder or two co-founders, if one of those people has the personality of paint drying on the wall, as well as strong aversion to selling and devoid of skill set, that it is not necessarily super important for them to be the first seller, which I'm starting to realize is a bit of a controversial hot take.
Yeah.
I just think to myself, well, I was literally the first seller for a company that is now worth billions of dollars. The founder didn't close any deals directly. And then I think to the company before that, the founder didn't sell any of those clients. And then I'm thinking, out of the 6 companies that I was ahead of sales at, I think that I think half of them, the founder did any selling. You and I worked at a company where the founder did not sell anything, Richard.
No, he just...
Exactly. So do I think it's mandatory? No, I don't think it's mandatory. Do I think it's better? Yes, I think it's better, but I don't think it's mandatory.
So question for you, actually, for both of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that you have that founder. So you guys work for a founder that had sold anything. How big was that company?
Well, we went from 0 to like $17 million in revenue in 18 months. And we had, 150 to 200 salespeople. It got real big, real fast. And then we basically plateaued and imploded.
We'd say we imploded. which caused our it was almost like, it was crazy. It was like,
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as the show Telemarketer, which I'm trying to get Scott to watch, free plug for the guys, but it was pretty close to like the scenario it was an inside sales group that felt like a call center, having run both of those. So yeah, it was a bit nutty.
But it wasn't mandatory that this person sold.
So,
No,
but it would have been helpful, I think.
You think? It's a whole other.
Yes, of course I think. I think it helps a ton. The founder then knows some of the pain that the salespeople go through. They understand more of the pain that the prospects.
I was just talking about this particular founder because I think he would have thought it was beneath him.
Well, that's my point, is that some people are just not built for it.
Yeah.
I think that that's okay in some scenarios.
Why don't we go back to talking to our guest instead of each other?
Yeah, well, you asked me the question.
So talk to us a little bit about, because you're global, right? And are there really cultural differences when you sell to different parts of the world? Or because I have this belief that how you say it kind of matters, but everybody's pretty okay with just being straight up and honest about it, right? It doesn't mean you walk in and say, here it is, here's the value, here's the price, buy it. There certainly always needs to be a human-to-human conversation. Is it really that different, though, selling to Germany or France or the UK or America? Like, what do you think?
based on my experience, as long as you're able to communicate well enough, I don't necessarily think there's a huge gap in like, oh my God, I can't sell into Germany because the cultural gap is a huge difference. If, for example, when I'm selling to the States, it helps to know the NFL team, to know the colleges, it helps. But that is literally not the thing that will make me sell or someone buy from what I'm selling. It helps, we're great friends, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean they will buy. So I don't particularly think there is a huge problem. It just doesn't, like, globally, if you have the skill set, or if we're just like, let's say you are a salesperson, has the knowledge, the skill set, and everything else to deliver in a country, that means you should potentially be able to deliver in all the countries. Obviously, there are like some nuances culturally, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm hearing you, it's how do I find a connection with that person in a different country, right? It could be sports. It could be talking about relevant topics. It could be all kinds of things. And establishing that piece, which is the same thing here in the States, is usually the best first step. I think the challenge is a lot of people think that, well, I don't know how to establish rapport with someone in America or someone in France or Germany or Serbia. Like, I don't know anything about people like that. It's like, well, dude, there's the internet. Like, figure it out, So I'm curious. You're one of the few people I've talked to who's like, yeah, it really just has to do with like how you communicate with them more than anything. So I'm refreshed by your answer there.
Yeah. That's my opinion, at least. And then, but I necessarily think I will be right for any country that first a chance to sell in, do whatever. But generally speaking, I think it's just how you present yourself.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break and give Scott a second to come up with a brilliant question, one that's going to blow the audience's mind, while I give a shout out to our good friend, Mr. Mark Roberge, and his podcast, The Science of Scaling. If you don't know Mark, which I'd be shocked if you're in SaaS sales and don't know who Mark Roberge is, he was the founding CRO at HubSpot. He's a senior lecturer at Harvard Business School, co-founder of Stage 2 Capital. And he's got this amazing podcast called The Science of Scaling, where he brings in other founders and tech leaders and sales leaders to talk about their strategies and secrets and tactics to scale the company growth. So when you're looking for that place that's going to bring the high level knowledge of someone who's been there and done that by the host, and then someone who's there now and doing it now, the guest, be sure to check out The Science of Scaling, hosted by Mark Roberge on the HubSpot Podcast Network. All right, Scott, what is the brilliance that you were going to blow us all away with?
Well, for anybody watching on YouTube, there is, I believe, a Michael Scott and Dwight Schrute figurine above Milo's head right now. So my question is, which one of those characters is your favorite and why?
I would have to go with Michael. I think I'll have to go with Michael. It's a tough question, though. The reason why is just like, regardless of the circumstances, he just had to figure out a way and keep figuring things out. When he falling in place by half of them, but like, he just figures things out. He will keep rolling and succeeding in the bit of like he was doing. So all out. I enjoyed it.
It kind of reminds me of you, Richard, just succeeding in spite of yourself over and over and over again.
Dude, I succeed so that you can succeed better than me. I can make sure that God does better.
Oh, okay. Back to a real question. When you sell to these kind of, as I refer to them all the time, these unsexy kind of industries like moving companies and whatnot, and you're selling a platform, you're trying to take an industry and a company that has probably been a late adopter, if an adopter at all, of technology. So give us a couple good tips for those people out there who might be in a similar situation. How do you get late adopters to adapt new technology and kind of modernize how they've been doing business?
So in an industry such as moving, right? And I'm going to assume that this could be with other unsexy industries. A bunch of it is referrals and getting in front of people. So, for example, let's say you don't know anybody in the industry, right? A person is finding and talking to someone from the industry that you're looking to attack, getting feedback from them. And the second thing is when you have a customer, I generally see people failing to ask for referrals all the time. I just tell them, look, just talk to me. You don't have to buy anything from me. I'm not selling. I want your feedback. One of the things that I'm looking to do, for example, a bunch of these companies that I speak with, they still use software that look like I'm not joking, that they were built in the 90s. And the thing is, I do this. Look, I don't want you to buy anything from me right now. I'm looking for feedback to tell me where I'm going wrong, so I can fix it for other people who might be interested. So if they get on the call, and now I have them to as let's say thought leader to help me build my thing. Their opinion is valuable, which it is to me specifically. Then it's a different ballgame when they see what we're building, when they see and hear the vision. That will turn them slowly into a customer. Oh, we absolutely love this. When can we test it? But you just have to refrain it from like, oh, let me show you what I got. I'm super awesome. I'm the best thing to slice bread. Versus help me get this to where it can eventually help you in the future. Like conditioning.
Yeah. Sounds to me like you're talking about referral selling and network-led growth and community-led growth. Sounds very similar to that.
It could be.
Well, you're asking for referrals. You're soft selling your way in, rather than sending a million emails or making a million phone calls, or maybe you're doing both.
I do both. I absolutely do both. I call every single day. I got hung up a million times. I even got hung up today a bunch of times. I do cold emails. I do.
But the referral strategy is working better for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the thing. It's kind of funny. I don't know if I would say it's working better, but based on a sample size that I have, which is not extremely huge, right? Both will work, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to if you caught the right person at the right moment to have a chat with you, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I think I like this approach too. Like I call it sort of the, hey, we're conducting interviews, or hey, I'm doing some research. I promise this is not a sales call, right? That kind of stuff. And even if someone doesn't respond, you generally haven't offended them because you've told them you're not trying to sell them. And in that first conversation, you're not. You're just trying to tell me. And then, which then, for you as the founder or the salesperson, you're just getting great market feedback. Maybe you'll sell them in 6 months. Maybe you'll sell them. So it's a much wiser long tail play, I think, particularly when you're going down that to the one Scott was talking about, the laggards, right? Like, how do you get to the laggards? A referral in, or B, they have been around for 30 years. Ask them some questions. Let them be the expert. Feed their ego. What I do with Scott every day. Oh, buddy, they're just too easy for me these days, bud.
It's softball. It's a softball.
But I do like that approach. I think it's a really wise and smart approach. I also, and let me ask you this: when you do that, here's the thing, Scott. I don't know if you've ever talked about it. The cool thing about a referral sale is, even if you don't get a deal out of it, as a salesperson, you feel clean coming out of it, because usually you learn something, right? Usually you're getting some feedback that maybe you haven't heard, or maybe you're getting feedback that confirms what you need, and you're just planting a seed with that part. So there's no sort of,
There's also the exhaustion or mental anguish factor, right? I mean, you make 100 cold calls and you get hung up on a bunch, like that can be exhausting. You have a bunch of phone calls all day long from referrals. I don't think you're as drained emotionally at the end of the day.
Yep.
You're not.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, if both strategies are equal, which one maybe makes the most sense? It could be the one that keeps you the most mentally sound, right? But to Milo's point, you got to do everything, because you just never know, you never know what channel somebody prefers. You never know. You call somebody, you just happen to get them at the right time, and all that kind of thing. So it is still wise to do everything. I just love that he's focusing on, some referral kind of methodologies and whatnot. So we're brushing up towards the end of the show here. So we told you at the beginning, we were going to give you a chance to ask us a couple questions. If there's anything on your mind, how we can be helpful to you. So what do you got for us?
So there's a couple of things, actually. If for whatever reason, actually just the bad segue, but there's two things. One thing is, if down the line, I can ping you guys for an opinion on what I can improve at my company, would you be opposed to that? That's one thing.
That's an easy one. In fact, we could make it happen in November when you come to Surf and Sales, because we do this beach challenge where we have one of the guests come and you actually get to ask everybody there for advice. We break your group into 2 teams. You present your business problem. You give feedback like from 2 consulting groups. So yes, come to Surf and Sales, and for sure, you'll get even more than just Scott and I, which is probably better anyway.
That's a good one, by the way. That's a good answer.
You can check out more at surfandsales.com.
I'll say what I say to everybody. I will answer any question that is sent to me that is not spam or, do you want to have a franchise opportunity somewhere? Anybody who comes to me with a genuine question and sends me a note, like, yes, I respond 100% of the time. Say hi.
Cool. Second, that's great to know, and I will pick up on it. Our second thing is, let's say that you are putting in place your sales team, right? The talent in the state is very used to talent. The talent in Serbia, for example, where I'm currently located, that is all about customer service, generally speaking. What would be, if you have to set up a sales team here, what would be, in terms of setting up your playbook, what would be the first thing to focus on in terms of how to get these people to be proper hunters and not afraid of cold calls and all that stuff? Yeah.
Go ahead, Richard. I'll let you go first.
So there's a couple things. One's a chicken and an egg. Not one. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg. The first thing is I'd want to make sure that I had a decent outline of what I want that role of responsibility to be, right? And, not necessarily this many calls, that many days, but maybe, right? And I want to know how am I going to train these people, right? Like what content, not necessarily do you have to have it all written out, but I need to teach them how to do cold calls. I need to teach them to do openers. I need to teach them to do that. Just know what you got to teach them. Because then you can start to think about the persona. Then I would also look at the market to see who does have salespeople there. And I'd start, casually reaching out to them. And then again, you're still looking for the same kind of people that are motivated the same way. That are they money motivated? Often how competitive are they? Are they willing to take, are they risk takers? Are they willing to risk going from a customer service role where they're answering calls to a sales role where they're making calls, right? All those kind of things to me feel like the pieces that you have to put into play. And I wouldn't say that one is more important than the other at this stage if you're just starting. I think it's just, you got to start putting these things down on paper to get to it. But Scott's a little closer to this stuff than I am usually, so he may have a stronger opinion.
Well, it starts with finding the right people. So first thing I do is I take a look at my kind of ideal hiring profile and put in place my interview process and screening and scorecards and all this kind of stuff. Then from a training and onboarding perspective, I've got to do that right. So I can't rush people onto the phone. The very first sales job I ever had, I had 4 hours of training, and then it was have fun, go at it. I don't think you want to do that.
You got 4 hours?
Yeah, 4 more hours.
That was like an undergraduate degree.
Yeah, at U of A, it was an undergrad degree, not at ASU or University of Virginia where Milo went. But it's got to be the right training, right? So I've got to train them on the industry, the product, the pitch, the process, all this kind of stuff. Because the next thing that's important is the right mindset, and they need confidence. And that confidence for a lot of people comes from being prepared. And you prepare somebody through the right training. So then I'm going to have a whole mindset kind of segment where we're trying to work on this shift from going from servicey to kind of salesy, and from passive to more of a hunter and that kind of thing. And then it's the right message. It's making sure that they're enabled with the right type of, scripts for email or phone or whatever, that they know what they're supposed to say, and then they can role play it over and over. And it's the right approach. It's not too aggressive. It's not, too passive. It's not over explaining everything. And if I'm trying to answer this as simply as possible, that's what I've got for you. Get the right people, onboard them the right way, work on their mindset, and then get them practicing the right message. Simple.
That makes sense. Yeah. Oh, super simple.
Yeah. It sounds simple when you say it.
Yeah. Super simple. But I'm not sure if we have time for another
let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Question is, let's say that you're hiring a salesperson. What would be your go-to question in an interview/screening process?
Go-to question for hiring an AE, right?
Yeah, an AE. Yeah, AE. Yeah.
So it's been a number of years since we interviewed somebody, Richard. What would your go-to question be?
There's always a couple of them.
No. Don't give one that he's heard before.
Okay. One that I would go to is, do you eat fast or slow?
What kind of question is this?
Well, Scott, do you eat fast or slow?
I eat fast, which is not good for you.
Right. But for salespeople, that's a built-in sense of urgency.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Right? My kids, right? Bodie eats fast, Scott. Riley eats slow.
Yes.
right?
That would make sense.
You can't teach urgency.
Yeah. So Richard is advocating for you to hire people who are going to end up with heartburn. Is basically what I hear. Is what I hear.
Yeah.
My go-to question. I don't know what my go-to question would be. Something. It's always for me got to be something around like, why are you willing to do X now when all the rest of your life you haven't been willing to do that thing? Like, what's different now? Because I'm looking for people who are trying to change their sort of status and position in life and their career. And everybody's probably sort of says the same thing. Oh yeah, I want to be rich and famous or whatever. But it's like, okay, well, why are you willing to do whatever it takes now, but you weren't yesterday and the job before that and whatnot? I always like to see people's answer to that type of question. How's that?
Good. I like it. Good.
All right, buddy.
What's your go-to question now? What do you use?
Mine? Oh, I absolutely love this. I tell them, tell me a story. You can make it up about anything within at least 2 minutes, at most 2 minutes. Story about anything, literally anything. I give them no fillers. I give them no information in terms of because I want to just see how they think on their feet, in the improv, how they actually relate the message. So you can get, I woke up today, I went to work, I was at work doing this for X amount of hours, and then I went out with a friend. And then you ask them creative answers that would just be completely offset. And then that way you can actually see who you're interacting with and if they can actually think on their feet while they're in a sales call, for example, and how we improv. That's what I like to use in my interview process.
All right. There you have it, folks. Milo, where can everybody get a hold of you, man?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Milo Milosevic, or Milosevic, whatever. You can type this in, drivesales.com. I also do a podcast with moving company, which you don't specifically fit for profile. But yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn generally. That's the only social network I use. And that will be it.
All right. Thanks so much. A special shout out to our friend Beck Holland, who got kind of brokered this arrangement and got Milo to join us on the Surf and Sales podcast today. We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.
See you, everybody. Thanks, Mel.
Thanks all. Thanks, Beck.